We want to have sexual chemistry with this person. We want to be able to plan financially and make, with this person. We want to operate synergistically and maintain it, have good conversation with this person. We want to co-parent with. It's one person.
Right.
Like,
Me personally, I don't believe in. Again, I don't necessarily
Hold on.
agree that. No, you said hold on.
No, no, no.
I
Keep,
heard
no,
you say,
keep,
hold
keep,
on, but
keep,
I
keep
heard.
cooking. We live again.
Okay, okay,
We
okay.
live again. Keep cooking.
Yeah,
I'm,
I
yeah.
don't believe as a man that the some people call it trauma dumping, emotional intelligence. I don't believe in giving that to your woman, but I also don't think that black men as a whole require black women to do that nearly as much. It's vice versa. And granted, it might be more natural for her to put her weight on you, view how I see it, but I don't think that as a whole, because you always hear them say, well, you could be more vulnerable with me, which I definitely don't agree with that, but you can open up to me. I think it's a fight for them to get you to do that a lot of times because pretty much that's the narrative. You know what I'm saying? We hold everything in, et cetera, et cetera. But me personally, I don't believe in it. I don't think men require, especially black men, require black women to carry them emotionally. Not maybe in certain aspects, with undeveloped men, but as a whole, anything that's positive or healthy, I don't think we require them to do that. I for
I
sure,
think there's a
yeah,
segment of brothers that do desire. There's this segment of brothers. Now granted, it's social media and things of that nature. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
for
want to
sure.
give I don't want to give them a disproportionate size of their voice. But I regularly hear brothers speak of wanting to be able to maybe not necessarily come home and cry, but wanting to
Hmm.
be able to have a certain uh, emotional availability, or
Mm-hmm.
so to speak, that they're able to express, should they desire to do that. Now the one thing I will say, even though I'll err more on the stoic side, or I would rather talk to you about a problem or something going through on the way home and walking to home, hey, yeah, in whatever mode I'm in, then bring that into the home. That's just personal philosophy, not saying right or wrong, but I do understand that a lot of black men, feel like they're so misrepresented and have to present themselves and a piece of themselves here and this where there, that maybe they just want a certain freedom to exist as who they are unapologetically inside their house. Like, that's the benefit of the doubt that I'm thinking
Mm-hmm.
the desire is, but I just don't think that I just don't think that that's the answer. And then I think there's a lot of problems inside of that, because now you open up yourself to a lot of covert contracts, when you start getting into the vulnerability thing, because now, okay, all right, Miss T, you're gonna be my wife for a second, right? So, hey, me and T, we
Miss T
like
agreed
we
to that fast, huh? Hold on.
hey,
Nah, go
hey,
ahead. Go ahead.
all right, so me and Trey, this is our tradition, right? Every morning we get up, we take a walk around the block, just kind of talk about things and everything. Start the day off like that, and then we I jet off to work, she jets off to work, and that's just our morning thing, right? This week Sinners came out. We already said, hey, we locked in. Sinners, we can't wait because my wife is a huge Ryan Coogler fan, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
our thing. It's going down at work right now this week. All hell and broke loose. There's been a bunch of layouts, all type of stuff like that. So I come home Monday. Oh, it's been so crazy at work. I can't believe this stuff going on the whole nine. I come home Tuesday. Yeah, it's more of this BS, and this is crazy. I don't even want to talk about it. I come home Wednesday. No, Wednesday. I'm a little tired because I told her all this stuff going on. So I hit the snooze button instead of hitting the walk around the neighborhood, right? Our morning thing. Thursday comes, hey, I was always senior time say, hey, look, on the tickets, we can reschedule, there's no extra charge, right? What do you mean reschedule? We said we was gonna do this. Now, how do I feel? I told you what's going on. What the now? Because I shared to you what was going on, I expect you to treat me differently based on what our plan was. But she didn't agree to that. That's a covert contract. So it's a little bit manipulative to in certain ways you could argue what the primary intent of certain vulnerability is. See now I want to justify me breaking what our normal tradition is, and can and the thing that I agreed to that we were going to plan because I shared with her some things going on at work. You see how tricky that could get?
Yeah, I do, but at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? What's up, Chris? At the end of the day, um I feel like there's a level of detachment you have to have from that. Because if you don't, you'll run into a situation to where they're constantly controlling everything you feel emotionally.
What you mean?
You'll be operating. Women are very volatile emotionally, and how they bring you information. How they talk, how they they're very inquisitive. It's almost like if they're not operating where they have things to do. How they say a devil. A idle mind is a devil workshop. That's women. If they're not always constantly busy or doing something, they will think of shit that has nothing to do with anything to do. So I just feel like when you're dealing with a type of person like that, hey, I'm not gonna do this, and that's just what it is. Understand that you may overreact, whatever the case may be, but let overreact. Or if you have something going on, just say, hey, what it. I think if you already understand that about this person, that you may be sharing something that's really a nuisance to you, and them taking that and flipping that and kind of like getting under that victim shit, then this obviously someone you shouldn't be telling things like
But
that.
no, but hold on. But just let's just stay in the original example, right? Because we were not talking about nothing that the woman did. We're talking about the man. We're saying that I believe because I was vulnerable with her, I believe that now I expect her to generate a level of grace and understanding if I don't deliver on, or I don't do some things that I've told her I would do, but I never got her explicit agreement. That's the covert contract. The covert contract is the fact that I entered her into an agreement that she never agreed to. That's the part that I'm talking about. I'm not even talking about what the woman does. I'm saying, okay, now if I said, hey, it's a lot going on this week, whatever, hey, if it does happen that we you have to we have to postpone something, that's something totally different. But a lot of times, and I'll say as a man, when I was a little naive and I was ignorant and I actually tried that, it was, yeah, I expected the vulnerability that I shared to result in a customized treatment based on what I had shared. But that was again, that's a what a covert contract is.
Man, nah, tell us. I tell you, smart all the time. Like, dude, you so fucking smart. I don't even know. Will Miss T say you the new Craig Mack?
Oh man, I don't even know. I don't know what Craig. I don't know what that means, but so this guy, like, oh, okay, okay, that's pretty good. All right, so this guy, Dr. Robert Glover, he wrote this book called "No More Mr. Nice Guy." It's a great book, and basically when he's explaining the way a lot of times men work is we work in covert contracts where it's like if I'm nice to you,
uh,
or I'll give you an easy one. This is a classic one. Rappers, right? You're a rapper. I'm a rapper. You're gonna come to my show, right? But you didn't come to my show. You're not gonna tell me this, but because you came to my show and appeared as a fan of my music, you expected me to come to your
right,
show. But you
right.
never told me that. You entered me into a covert contract. So a covert contract is when you hold someone to an agreement that they never made. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course you can, Miss T.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have like here.
Okay. Several things. I think for
Well, hold on
one,
before you continue. Hey, if y'all just tuning in, man, hit that like button. Y'all hit that subscribe button. We want YouTube to recommend this conversation we're having. I've already told y'all I feel like the algorithms kind of fuck with us. They don't want to get, good conversation out there. But y'all do that for us. Hey, also, if the live ends, we're gonna bring it back. We're not just here, for a limited time only. I feel like we can go as long as we can. What's today? Friday?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Y'all ain't doing shit. Y'all all we drinking. We might bust out 20 lives tonight for y'all to post. But anyways, continue, Miss T. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to be a misogynist.
No, 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 you're fine. Um, I think a lot of things come to play with what you were talking about. And for one, I think that now I'm just speaking, not necessarily myself. I'll let you know when it's my thinking, but I think for black women, there's this image that a black man is supposed to be this in this box. And when a black man shows level of vulnerability, he now becomes weak, and so now that puts that man in a very difficult situation because it is the ideology that the if I'm going through something, I should be able to go to my mate. You know, I should be able to go to my mate and get help and support from my mate. Now let's flip it. If a woman is having issues on her job, she would want the man to be understanding and not look at her as less of a woman because she's going through conflict, especially if it's outside of the home. So when you start thinking like that, that becomes very selfish and it becomes very divisive. And so men now feel like, oh, let's say a man does something and she brings that back up. So now it's like what I came to you, which I thought was support, you're actually using it to slice against me to now fit me into this other box. Like it's all these different boxes. I think that, and here's the thing though, from a psychological standpoint, I do believe it's healthy. I believe that a man needs to pick a woman that is emotionally strong enough to bounce back those emotions. And I don't mean bounce back to make that man look any less than what he is, but you should be strong enough to where he can come and present these problems to you because you're supposed to be seen as a helper. So the help might be just listening. The help might be throwing in a suggestion. The help might be writing a letter. The help might be networking. Like you just don't know what it is. But I think that, and it goes back to Rob's point about how black men are viewed. So, you know, if you have a black woman and she doesn't have a positive viewpoint on that black man already, and now he comes and he's telling her about his day, now he looks weak, he looks like he's a complainer, he can't handle things, and so it becomes the rabbit hole just becomes even deeper. I do.
I feel like this though. I just want to kind of chime in. I think men have to get away from giving a damn about what she thinks, and you have to be happy with that. Like, be responsible enough that you're tender, and you can be tender and leader and not mistreat her or whatever the case may be. But
Mhm.
going back to Rob's point of having a tribe of men, having men that you can confide in and get wise leadership is gonna be best because I believe bringing problems to women or bringing something that seems like a problem to someone who isn't a problem solver, that's an issue. And I think that becomes their frustration over time. Yeah, it's easy to sell that she's going to listen and but that's not a part of to me, that's not a part of the helpmate resume. The helpmate is multiplying things that I build, multiplying things that are completed enough to bring to you. Like there's a level of subordination there. If I'm a manager at an establishment, am I complaining to subordinates about what's going on in the company? No, I'm trying to make changes. So I think our expectations as men, as we grow older in our masculinity and mature, I think there is a reliance on women we just don't need. You're the problem solver. That's just what it is. Like this is like with Donald Trump. Donald Trump, we expect for you to have all the answers. He's a human, but he's not complaining to us about how fucked up shit is there. He's talking to his equals. He's talking to people that understand what's going on. So when a man got a problem, come talk to your bros about what's going on with this lady. Or if you have an issue, I don't think that that's their job. That's why they get frustrated.
Uh,
But you learn this
I
over time.
think, I think one thing though we have to be in my relationship. I'm just not a complainer. Period. But
Mm-hmm.
the door is open for me to do so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think if I did it, she would think no different. You feel what I'm saying? I don't think it, and I agree. You shouldn't put it all on her. But if the door's not open, I think you as a man can't possibly think that you can go through life without bringing issues to your woman. That's just not how life works. I, I'm, I consider myself a macho man, just not that type of macho. I don't think that it's personal things that I would never share with another man because I don't have a personal, intimate relationship with another man. I have it with my woman. So certain things we're just never gonna discuss. We're never it on we could you could put me around the greatest men of our time. I'm not gonna discuss that with them via discussing it with the person that I sleep with every night. That's just not how feelings,
Mm-hmm.
emotion work. Like we gotta kind of be a little bit more like
But I mean, but the thing is, like
yeah,
this isn't like a theory. This is the pretty much the way that in Black America, the dominant the dominant suggested methodology, so to speak, is
yeah,
that when you have problems, you should go see a therapist, talk it out, and that's how you process it. And that's in Black mental health. You can say that's pretty much the dominant narrative on how you should address problems. In
yeah.
the men's mental health movement,
Hmm.
the dominant narrative, is that men should really engage in tribe and engage in, not now people don't necessarily say that you shouldn't have feelings or you shouldn't speak. There's various varying views on confiding with your woman, things of that nature, but nobody has the desire or the emphasis on it or the practice that you hear the black
Yeah.
mental health awareness movement engage in.
I'll say
Um,
Hmm.
this. I do rock with what Courtney saying in the sense of, hey, your woman is supposed to be your partner, your best friend. You should be able to share things with your woman, and there are gonna be things you may not. It's just a y'all thing. So in that regard, I do feel like there's a level of vulnerability you have to have. But I think
but sharing things and kind of bringing like the emotional complaints of and the weight of that thing is two different things. I don't think that
Yeah.
those are
I,
necessarily the same.
I think as a man, one thing that I'm very good at, because people be like, you cool, you never blow your gasket. I just regulate my emotions very well, bro. I'm
Yeah.
sure I probably got more emotions than anybody else. I just regulate them well, and I learned that from my father. So I never seen bro go and tell his homeboys about nothing that was going on in the crib. He barely even had somebody over there. He probably wasn't complaining to my mama neither. It's just understanding what you're going through, and I think we all agree as a man, you're supposed to be a problem solver and a fixer. Me personally, I'm under that old law that if you got a problem and you tell more than three people, you're not really looking for a solution. You're looking for attention. So I rather whatever I'm going through, put the effort in to try to get past it and work on it, and then really not be telling a lot of people, but I just think that the door has to be open, bro. The door has to be open for you. Like you just can't. I agree. I don't believe in putting nothing on her shoulders. Like, but the door has to be open for you haven't had that conversation or you having a hard time with something in life and you've been able to go to her about it. If that's where I'm just me personally, I'm just not sharing a bunch of personal stuff with like it's not the same. It's hard for me to explain it, but it's not the same. Me telling friends, even wise counsel, something that I can tell a person that I'm sharing life with. That's affecting her too. That's probably gonna affect her. It's just something. I get it though. Overall, I agree because we had these conversations. I agree you shouldn't be trauma dumping on your woman. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, because
But
I
I
think
yeah
and I think you adding one
yeah
thing, you kind of you like I get it, which I understand how that you could view it that way, because the conversation in the direction is going one way, so it's almost like if it goes that way, then it goes reverse. I don't no, to my knowledge, the purpose of like a tribe and trusted comrade isn't to be able to talk to them about what's going on in your relationship with your woman. All I'm talking about more so is outside things in your own personal world you may be dealing with, instead of bringing those in the house, maybe holding that down, or getting that's more so the logic, that I've heard presented, versus no, not that you just gonna have you obviously gonna share things. And like I mean, today, man, I had an incident where, and this isn't even my woman, this is a woman that I'm close with, but she you know, one of the guys, he had this go yard bag, and it came to like selling in my eBay. I never do stuff on consignment, you know. I never do this, but I just for whatever reason, so put it in my store. Someone paid like $1,900, sent it to the authenticator. Authenticator didn't authenticate it. Now you know they got to go sell a review, and I'm just pissed. And I'm like, I'm talking to her. I knew I should have put that fucking shit in my goddamn store. This nigga, what the fuck he know about go? You know, I'm really mad. You know what I'm saying? But then like after that, you know, we was moving on to talking about some other, you know, some other things. So I'm not saying like you can't express, you know, your feeling. But I think there's you know there's levels to everything. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes the things I hear guys desire, you know, the highest level is you know a lot of guys have this thing with tears, and it's like, you know, I don't know, man. I don't. I'm never really.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna necessarily
yeah,
discredit them, but I just never have like tears have not done that much for me. Where I just you know,
facts,
and
facts.
you
No,
know
I
like
agree with
so
you.
yeah,
I agree with you.
you know.
I think it is another. It's another plot to try to make you vulnerable and make you weaker. Like it to me. It any of that vulnerable be vulnerable like that shit just sound like a play to me. Like I'm good, bro.
Hey,
I don't
that's
need
look.
to
Let me
be
tell you the
vulnerable.
trick. There's a trick. There's a trick that happened like that. I realized when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Women when they say what do you like in a man, um, and they say yeah, all I got is vulnerable, this, that, and the other. They're not lying. That is what they like in a man, a male friend,
Hmm.
a male guy that they know, a male like see the thing is we ask the wrong questions, so that's why we get a certain level of vanilla answers, right? But you know, so there's a silent there's a silent. Yeah, I want a man that's a friend that is vulnerable, this, that, and the other, because yeah, they would appreciate that in a friendship. But here's what you should listen to as a man. Always listen to a woman when she describes the man that she learned the most from, the lover that she learned from, she grew from, she has the highest level of admiration from, the experience that she values. And to a woman, they're gonna be describing, it's gonna sound like they're all talking about the same man. It's gonna
Mm,
be, man, he was like, no matter how mad I got, he was always you know, nothing ever seemed to break. I never saw him mad. He was just a guy that you know I learned from him that you know I couldn't they couldn't manipulate. It's gonna be the same guy. It's never gonna be the guy who was he was just so open with his that and all I hear story after story after story after story of the
hmm.
axiomatic lover that they've experienced who's been one of the has been a man who was of a man of a high level of emotional intelligence and emotional control who was able to guide himself in his actions under a certain level of maturity and did not succumb to her emotion and could not be manipulated. That's the same guy. It's the
Hmm.
same, and it's so you know you have to be very careful when you ask women questions because women have a lot of there's a lot of blank words that you don't see in certain questions. You know, a better question if you want to talk to a woman about attraction, you shouldn't even ask what you're looking for in a man. You should ask what arouses you in a man. That's a better that gets you closer to the truth. But there's only so true that they can be. There's only so much. There's only a
Hmm.
certain level of honesty that they actually can give before they compromise their own interests. Just
Yeah.
like we can only be honest up to a certain extent. Then we're compromising our own, you know, desires. So I don't expect them to tell us everything.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think the biggest thing, you know, I have to be careful because I have accusations of some of what I've been saying is being attached to pimping. So I really don't want to, you know, I don't want to give y'all the wrong idea when I say certain things, but your cooperation, your um is to me the best you can give me. I don't really care about your past. I don't care about that nigga that you used to love either. Like he could have Denzel Washington. I really don't care. Can you put all that bullshit aside to give me full compliance, communication, and cooperation? Three C's. That's gonna be my favorite thing from you. And if what I'm doing makes you do that, then that's what I care the most about. You know. And I think those type of men that they go after, and those are typically gonna be men that got their own shit. And I'm not saying, you know, I really hate we in this world of high value as in like monetarily what you have and shit like that. No, I'm just talking about a man that got his own shit, whatever the case may be. I think a woman offering you that is the best thing that choosing. I want you to be here because you choose to. I don't want to be coercing you. I don't want to be